Gerd von Rundstedt's Army Group A in the center, led by 3 armored corps in the vanguard, advances into the Ardennes. Paul Kleist has Heinz Guderian and Georg Hans Reinhardt's corps under his command, heading for Sedan and Monterrey. Hermann Hotz makes for Dinant. They advance rapidly against little opposition, which they easily brush aside. Fedor von Bock's Army Group B makes far more spectacular attacks on the right against Belgium and the Netherlands, though. Paratroopers dropping from the sky deep inside Holland beginning at 4:30 a.m. paralyzed Dutch resistance. The Dutch are really taken by surprise, having had no part in World War I and having not fought a war on their own European soil since 1830. Half of their 125 planes are destroyed straight away on the ground. They plan to retreat to the defenses of Fortress Holland, the region of waterways near Amsterdam and Rotterdam. But the Germans ruin that plan in hours, flying over and landing the 22nd Airborne Division in its heart. In Belgium, a German airborne force of 78 paratroopers lands atop Fort Eben Emael in gliders, totally surprises the defenders, and puts the fortress out of action. This fortress is considered by many to be not only the strongest fortress in the world, but completely impregnable. It is in fact the linchpin of the main Belgian defense line and covers the junction of the River Meuse and the Albert Canal. And the Germans have prepared for this attack far in advance, using a full-scale mock-up of the fortress exterior. German army can invade Belgium without the mighty covering fire of Eben Emael to stop them. Attacks such as this grab British and French attention, and by the evening they have mostly moved to their planned positions on the Dielit line, which I talked about last week. Thing is, the fortifications there do not at all compare with those on the Franco-Belgian border that they've been building up over the winter and spring, and the Belgians have not allowed the French or British army onto Belgian soil before invasion, thinking that would compromise their neutrality and provoke the Germans. In the Netherlands, German airborne units take the Moerdijk Causeway and cut the country in two, and the Dutch army withdraws north towards Rotterdam and Amsterdam. The French 7th Army, which has advanced to Breda to try to link with the Dutch forces, now finds that task impossible. Its commander, Henri Giraud, is ordered to fall back from Breda and redeploy further south near Antwerp. The Dutch only hold out for a few more days until after the bombing of Rotterdam. See, the evening of the 13th, advance units of the German 39th Army Corps reach the city. They are under General Rudolf Schmidt, who has orders to avoid unnecessary Dutch civilian casualties. But every hour the city holds out can sabotage the German timetable, and his men are needed for the push through Belgium into France. So the plan to crush Rotterdam's resistance is a tank attack at 3:30 the next afternoon, preceded by an air raid on the surroundings at 3 o'clock. At noon, local Dutch commander Colonel Garot gets an ultimatum to surrender or the Luftwaffe will hit the city center. Garot says he has to consult The Hague. The Hague sends a deputation to Rotterdam to talk terms with the Germans, arriving at 2 o'clock. At 1:30, Schmidt sends a signal to call off the air raid, but he is 5 minutes too late. By the time the 100 Henkel 3s in the air are sent the abort order, they are in Dutch airspace, which means the radio operators have closed their positions to take combat stations. German ground forces send up red abort flares, but in the haze and smoke shrouding the city, they are not seen until 57 of the bombers have dropped 100 tons of bombs on Rotterdam, destroying the city center and killing or wounding thousands of Dutch civilians. The Dutch garrison surrenders at 5 o'clock. The Dutch have beaten the Germans at the Battle of Afsluitdijk this same day, but though Zeeland holds out until the 18th, the war is over for the Dutch army, and a Dutch government in exile is established this week in London. As for Giraud's French units retreating from Breda, many are badly mauled and some even surrounded. The remaining French forces concentrate on Walcheren, where the French Navy launches a large-scale evacuation, and by midnight on the 17th, French resistance on Walcheren is finished and the battle for the Netherlands is over.